Hey, welcome to the Screen Door. This is just a casual discussion about film, music, literature, photography, poetry, anything that has to do with art. And I'm not an expert in each one of those areas. I am closer to film and music as far as personal interests of mine, so I'm going to emphasize those things more, but nothing is off the table. Either way, I want this to be an open discussion. I would love to get feedback from you and suggestions. And please correct me if I'm mistaken in some information. Oh, by the way, you are going to help me with this, right? Otherwise, I'll be stuck doing them both. Okay, so today is where there's also going to be an occasional in between reviews and discussions about specific works. There's going to be occasional sidebar discussions, and that's actually what we're going to start with today. Subjectivity versus objectivity. I thought that would be a good place to launch because people have such varying opinions about the creative world. Well, let me kick this off by describing an experience that I had in the early 2000s. I was at a film class in Boston, and during one of the sessions, we got into a sort of loose dialogue about good film versus bad film. And one of the young students there bristled even at that classification. And she said, well, it's all subjective. Now, I know that that's a popular view in our current culture because nobody wants to be told that their taste is wrong. The conversation, and it didn't go on real long, but it continued roughly like this. So there's no such thing as a good work of art or a bad work of art. But who are you to say what's good and what's bad? It doesn't take any special credentials to identify quality or the lack of it. What makes your opinion better than anyone else's? My opinion isn't better than anybody's, but you're saying that it's only about opinion. I'm saying that, say, the film Amelie has an inherent quality about it, even if I don't recognize it. It's still there. There are such things as good films and bad films, but all of them are viewed through the lens of our personal taste. So here's the point that I really want to make today. To critique art of any kind is partly subjective and partly about inherent quality in the work. I don't think that we can ever totally divorce ourselves from our personal taste. Those personal tastes have their place, but sometimes they will be a roadblock. They will keep blinders on us so that we never experience outside the pool of what we like. But to strive to be less subjective and more objective achieves something. It has this clarifying ability to be able to take us away from ourselves toward something that has a quality that we might have missed. I'm not talking about becoming an art snob. This is just about broadening my art experience. And over the years, the less that I'm resigned to my subjective view, the more appreciation I have of creative things. Not just that I'm aware of more art, but I know more distinctly why I dislike this and why I like that. I'm not talking about replacing the heart experience that goes along with art with the head experience. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying to intellectualize it all. I'm talking about the part of us that holds on to prejudices that we might not be aware of. I'll give you an example. When I first wanted to make movies, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to do surrealism and abstract stuff. I just didn't think that I had a feel for linear narrative. But that's because I was the only person on planet Earth who had not yet seen The Godfather. So I could have continued in my current taste. That would have been fine. There would have been no wrong in that. But I would have metaphorically been in a side room missing out all this time. I know that not everyone's experience will be the same. Certainly, not everyone is going to recognize, let me get rid of this band-aid here, not everyone is going to recognize quality. Not everyone's going to agree on what quality is. There are still some things that I don't have any taste for, certain styles that I don't have any taste for, but at least I know more specifically why I'm not interested. When it comes to our individual taste, we all have this in common. We all have a certain place inside that we draw the line because we know up to that line, we know what will add to our enjoyment and we know what will take away from it. My appreciation for creative things has grown substantially because I'm now proactive about going outside my subjective view and discovering more. Hey, there's more types of vegetation out here in the garden than I realized at first, just looking at it from inside the window. The more I view film or listen to music critically, I don't mean with a critical spirit, but I mean examining it more closely, the more enjoyable the experience becomes for me. And I just get much more satisfaction out of creative works than I used to. And I'm not talking about when you're watching a movie or listening to music to be so analytical of it that you're absent from the experience. I personally get completely submerged in the experience. And my wife is much more attentive to a lot of details, things that went by in the movie in a really subtle way, or some far-flung instrument that's played way in the background in a piece of music. She picks those things out the first time. It takes me half a dozen passes before I'll notice them. So I'm not talking about doing this kind of forensic, examination of the arts. I'm saying let's go outside our comfort zone a little bit. And the more that I do that, now there's just as many things that I reject as things that I accept, but at least I'm more familiar with the landscape now. There may be a lot more that you like than what you're currently aware of. So why stay inside the corral? Let's open up the gate. I'm either mining new gold on the 10th time still somehow, or I'm returning it to the secondhand store for credit. I really hope that some of you will respond right back, tell me, oh, this was horrendously boring, or I completely disagree with you, or I would like to talk about such and such. Okay? So I'll see you next time.